Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. For today's video topic, I don't know exactly what I'm going to title this video, but it's going to be on the topic of road tripping, talking specifically about this road trip we just came back from recently. Camping, we have a pop-up camper, so camping with our family of 7 and how that works for us. I'll go over maybe some tips and tricks and the cost of this year's trip, kind of a whole bunch of different info about the logistics of it and specifics. So if you're new here to my channel, I'll first introduce myself. My name is Julie. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5, and because we homeschool, we do have this flexibility to go on vacation in the off season during the school year. So with my husband's work, well, there are a couple of reasons. One, we love being at home in the summer. We're in Ontario, and we have long, cold winters, but the summers are really enjoyable to be at home. It's my favorite time to be home. So I'm not super eager to go out on vacation during the summer. We have a beach close by. My kids are really involved in sports in the summer, and so I love to be home in the summer and then go on vacation after the summer. So, and then with my husband's work, he can't take as much time off in the summer because everybody wants time off in the summer. But once it gets into the fall, he is able to take time off. So he takes a few blocks of time off in September. And for the last few years, I guess, that's what we've been doing, is going on vacation in September. So we just got home a few weeks ago now from doing a big road trip from Ontario, where we live, down to the state of Texas. And I got some questions saying, why did you go to Texas? Well, so last year we did a similar road trip. Not a similar road trip, but we did a camping road trip as well. Last summer we bought our pop-up camper tent trailer that we tow with our minivan. So we have a Honda Odyssey, and I might be a little bit off with the numbers here, but I'll try to remember. So with our van, with minivans in general, but I know specifically our van, you can tow 3,500 pounds. So we had to shop around, look for something that would fit our family but would also be towable with our van. So the tent trailer we bought is 2,200 pounds. And then of course, so when it says that you can tow 3,500 pounds, that is including a 200-pound driver. So then you add up the weight of the rest of the family, the weight of our stuff, which we do pack very lightly. I know that we're probably between 3,000 and 3,200 pounds. So up close to the limit of how much we can tow, but we've driven through mountains and everything, had no issues, so we're good. And in the next few years, I know we'll outgrow the tent trailer and we'll need to get a bigger camper, but as well as a bigger camper, we'll need to get a bigger vehicle, like a big SUV or something, where we actually can tow, a bigger RV. So, like I said, I'm going to be all over the place with what I'm talking about here. And if you have any other questions that I don't answer in today's video, leave those down in the comments and I can answer some more of those. But I'm trying to give a thorough kind of overview here. So, we bought that pop-up trailer last summer, and we took an even bigger trip. We were away for 3.5 weeks, and we drove all the way out to British Columbia through Canada. And then we drove through the States home, visited a whole bunch of different fun national parks, saw so many different terrains. That was a really fun part of last year's trip. And I was planning on, showing you guys our camper. That was my plan. I thought I'm gonna just show the camper, how we pack everything, how we store everything. And then if you follow along on my channel, I got home and I was sick for a good couple weeks after we got home from this year's trip, which is, I'll probably take a couple breaks here, take a drink of my tea, because if I talk too much, I really start to need to cough. But Anyway, we got home from the trip. I was sick for a couple weeks, and Andrew packed up the camper, winterized it. It's packed away for the winter now. So I didn't get a chance to film that video, but next year, you guys, it's just, once it comes to like packing and prepping for a trip, everything just, I think, oh yeah, I'll have plenty of time to film a video showing how we packed it. No, like we're doing this and that. Next year, I'll show you a little bit more inside, like give a little tour inside our camper and how we store everything. That will be the plan. And I'm really bummed that I didn't get to it this year. So I do have some notes written down because I wanted just to, all right, so first, why? Why did we choose to go to Texas? Well, like I said, we went on this other trip last year and we just want to see more states. We want to see more places. And so there was a whole big story about how we actually chose where to go this year. But it kind of all started because we wanted to go to a Sight and Sound production. If you haven't heard of it, it's this theater where they present Bible stories. So well done, just excellent productions they put on. And so there's one Sight and Sound theater in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and there's another one in Branson, Missouri. And so we were gonna go to Pennsylvania, but by the time I started looking at tickets, the tickets they didn't have very many, like 7 seats together. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be tricky. I don't wanna be sitting in the wings, I wanna get good seats. So then I knew that there was a second theater in Branson, Missouri. And sorry, I can tell this video is gonna be long because it's just a really chatty video here. But I thought, oh, and so then I looked into Branson, Missouri, and they had a ton of seats still open. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll go to Missouri instead. So at first we thought we'll go to Lancaster and just, stay there for a bit, go to Sight and Sound. We'll do Kentucky and go to the Ark Encounter and that stuff. Totally shifted gears because of the seats for Sight and Sound. So that brought us to Branson, Missouri. We did Sight and Sound, Silver Dollar City. I'll talk more about the different activities we did. And so then by the time we're driving all the way to Missouri, going to Texas is just something we've always wanted to do. I thought it would be really cool to check out Texas. And we realized that it's like, I think it was a 5 or 6 hour drive from Missouri to Texas. And I'm like, okay, by the time we get down there, that's not much more. Let's go to Texas. So we drove down to Branson, Missouri. We stayed there for 5 nights. Then we drove down so our drive to Missouri probably was about 3 or 4 days long. Then we stayed in Branson. Then we took a day and drove to Dallas, Texas area. We stayed there for about 5 days. And then we took a kind of slow drive home. I think it was 5 days of driving to get home. So that is what we did for our trip. So I'm gonna just give you some numbers here, okay? Because I know I get questions about the cost of the trip and everything. Let me just take a second to have a sip of tea first. I will say our trip went so smoothly. I'm always a little bit like, okay, please no like vehicle troubles, trailer troubles, just anything, just being so far from home. But our trip went incredibly smoothly. With the exception of starting the trip with a couple of the kids being sick and then ending the trip with a couple more of us being sick. Sickness aside, the trip went extremely well. Even with the sickness, we made so many good memories that will last a lifetime. We just really, really enjoyed ourselves. So as far as the cost for the trip, okay, crunching numbers here. We drove, I have to tell you, because everything, we pay in Canadian, so I'll tell you Canadian prices and US prices. To start off, we drove 6,500 kilometers for this trip in all, which is about 4,000 miles. So first of all, the cost of gas. Thankfully, this trip, compared to last year's trip, much, much cheaper because last year's gas was, half of it was in Canada and half was in the US. American gas is much cheaper than it is here where we live. So because we were in the US this whole trip, we really saved on gas. So the total amount of gas we bought was $860 Canadian, which is $620 US. Now, the campsites, we book KOA campsites our whole trip. Now, I know some people can find better deals booking like municipal or private campgrounds. We have friends that went on a big road trip and they booked more private campgrounds. They didn't use the KOA site. And I think it ended up being cheaper for them. For us, I'm like, it's just simple. Booking through KOA, you know what you're getting at every campsite because every campsite's very similar. Going through the website and booking the campsites, so simple. So that's the route we take. So for I should say we were away for, it was like 18 nights total, I believe, about 2.5 weeks. And the total we spent on the campsites was 1,150 Canadian, which is $830 US. Where it gets pretty expensive for this trip specifically is with the activities. So the activities we did, the activities, I should say activities includes like, what do you call them? Souvenirs. That took me way too long to think of, but that includes buying souvenirs, and each of the kids got a couple of souvenirs. Andrew and I got a t-shirt, and like there were a few souvenirs we got, as well as like parking lots, tolls, which was not much, but we added it all in there. Oh, paying for laundry. So that was included in like activities and other. But the activities we did, I will tell you first before telling you the price. We did Silver Dollar City in Missouri twice. We did like you can visit the park 2 days within a 5-day period, which was pricey. It was worth it. We had so much fun, but that was about $1,000 Canadian to do those 2 days at the park. We did the Sight and Sound Theater. We did a rodeo. We went mini golfing one time. As soon as we got into Missouri, we went to the Arch, which I guess we didn't actually go up into the Arch, so it wasn't expensive that way. It was expensive for parking. And we also went to a St. Louis Cardinals ball game. And then on the way home, in Kentucky, we went to Mammoth Cave National Park. So that about encompasses the activities we did. So a good number of activities, we're a family of 7. So those activities did come to 2,700 Canadian, which is about $2,000 US. So that's where we spent the most money. And to be honest, we didn't spend much all year on anything else. Like sometimes we'll go to an amusement park at home. We never did that. Or we'll go to the zoo, or we'll go to the fair. We really did nothing like that. We kind of saved and just did everything with this trip. But that's the number we spent there. Now, as far as groceries go, we did really well with groceries. The total we spent, which I don't even consider this a cost of our trip. It's really just a regular budget number. But we did spend $540 on groceries, which is $390 US. And we came home and just added that to our grocery budget, and we're exactly where we usually would be on groceries for the month. Nothing extra, even though we were traveling. Eating out, we did spend a little bit more. It was $380 Canadian, which is $275 US. And eating out, we didn't do that much. Again, it's expensive to eat out. There are 7 of us, so we went out to eat one night for dinner. We had barbecue down in Fort Worth, Texas, and so that was probably half of our eating out budget. Just with that one meal, we did like ice cream and milkshakes probably 2 or 3 times. I think we had one other meal at like McDonald's after the St. Louis Cardinals game. And that was it. So not a lot on the eating out budget. So that's really it for what we spent on this trip. If you were adding it up, the total we spent, not counting the groceries, was about $5,000 Canadian. I didn't figure out what that is in US dollars, but that was what we spent for this trip. As far as how we plan for the trips, again, I kind of told you the story of how we decided where we were going to go. And then from there, it's just figuring out, okay, where else do we want to stop on the way? Okay, we want to get to Branson, Missouri. Is there anything on the way that we can do? Any national parks? You know, we did a ball game, which by the way, was so cheap. Our cheapest tickets to go to a Toronto Blue Jays game, which is where we would go if we wanted to go to a ball game here at home. The cheapest tickets you can buy, I don't even know, they're probably $35 for like the 500 level or something like that. We got the tickets to the Cardinals game for $6 a piece, which is nuts. And honestly, the experience was much better, I would say, than when we go to a Blue Jays game. So that was pretty cool. But anyways, getting off topic again. So we just look at where else should we stop on the way. Then we go onto the KOA website, which is where we book all of our campsites. We are KOA members, which I think is like $50 a year, but it saves you on every single booking 10%, or there's some number like that. I'm saying this and I'm a little bit clueless because Andrew does all of this part of it. So a lot of the logistics and like what we pack and planning meals and all that, a lot of that is on me, but Andrew does all of the booking campsites. And so for that, he has to figure out, okay, how, once he figures out where should we be stopping on the way, it's okay, how far should we be driving each day? Okay, this day we tried to like 6 or 7 hours would be the most we would drive in a day. Okay, the next day we want to stop and see this site. Okay, if we want to stop and view this, if we want to go to this national park for a couple hours, we probably should only have a 3 or 4 hour driving day this day. And then, okay, this next day, let's not drive far because it'll be time to get groceries. And so last year, like we did learn a lot from doing this road trip last year. For instance, we were driving basically every day. Last year, we didn't really stay at any campsites for more than one night, which is just, that's what that trip had. That's what we had to do for that trip. But the thing that got tricky is like laundry and groceries. Those are the two things that, once a week we had to get laundry done. Lug it all off to, all the KOAs have laundromats, so that's easy. But lug it all off to the washers and then move them to the dryers and then fold them and pack our bags again and stuff. So that's a little bit of an ordeal, We'd have to do that at least once a week. And then because we don't have a lot of space for storing food, every 4 or 5 days for sure, tops, we had to go do a little grocery trip. So that kind of got tricky last year because we'd have so many driving days and I'm like, we can't have a driving day and do groceries. Like it's just too much in a day. So just kind of figuring out, okay, let's have a short driving day so we have time to get groceries today. You kind of figure that out as you go. But then the way the KOA booking website works is you can just, draw your line, like I'm gonna stop here for this night, and then the next night let's travel to this point, and then you can just kind of book all the campsites at one time. So Andrew, again, does it all, but he says that it's very seamless and an easy website to work with. What else did I want to talk about? Okay, I did bring some things up here to show you. Again, I would love to show you more of how we store stuff in the camper, but obviously I can't do that. We do pack quite light on our trips. We bought this huge cooler this year because again, we have it's like a little bar fridge. In the camper, which can't hold a lot, especially with, 7 people and all the food that requires. We bought one of these really big coolers that will keep things cold for a pretty long time. We did have to buy ice, every few days we'd fill up with gas. Okay, buy a bag of ice, stick that into the cooler in the back, and just to stay on top of, keeping our food cold. And then as far as like packing clothes goes, everybody has one duffel bag, and before we go I write a list of what everybody needs. So it's like, I'm trying to remember the numbers right now. Actually, my list should be in this notebook. Let me just see if I can pull that up real quick. So the list I wrote for this year was 3 pairs of shorts, 2 pairs of pants, 4 shirts, one hoodie, I think we actually did 2 hoodies, 7 pairs of underwear, 5 pairs of socks, 2 pairs of pajamas, 1 jacket, 1 church outfit, 1 hat, 1 swimsuit, 1 towel, and then a pair of running shoes. So we made sure that everybody had a pair of running shoes and a pair of sandals. So we did try to pack pretty light. It just made it so much simpler. And honestly, as much as I love to come home and be like, oh, all my clothes, it is kind of nice being like, okay, what shirt do I want to wear? I have 4 to pick from. Which pair of shorts? I have 3 to pick from, you know? It's actually kind of nice. We also have, just to make things easier, like I said, we all do a duffel bag. I also bring 1 extra duffel bag, which holds like Bibles, any books that we're reading, and a lot of our toiletries, my makeup, the iPad where the kids will sometimes watch movies on our drives, and I keep just some of the extra stuff in that duffel bag. And so I do have a lot of these bags, and they are just so handy. Just these little zipper pouch bags. I have lots of different ones, lots of different sizes. This one has hair stuff in it. This little car bag, I've had these for years. I have a 3-pack. The smaller one has all of our toothbrushes in it. Or no, I guess the bigger one has our toothbrushes in it because the smaller one has these. So we also have a good number of these little squeeze bottles, which come in handy. This one had like the kids' shampoo, and then I had my shampoo and conditioner. Charity has her own shampoo and conditioner now, so I actually just bought a whole nother pack of these off of Amazon before we went on our trip, just to make sure I had enough of these little squeeze bottles. Oh, and I also just got this, which is a cute little bag. It's from Livy and Rose. And this is where I stored a lot of my stuff and makeup and everything. So lots of little bags, like everything. It was like all of our shampoos and conditioners in 1 bag, all of our hair stuff in 1 bag, all of our toothbrushes in 1 bag, all of my like face washes, moisturizer, makeup remover, all that stuff in another bag. And so just trying to keep as organized as we can. And I think that's it. I know I say, oh, that's it. I chatted for way longer than I was thinking I was going to. But if you made it to the end of this video, thanks so much for watching. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to like get these bottles to fit like they were before. If you have any other questions, leave those down below in the description, or not in the description box, leave them in the comments and we can chat about that down there. Hope this video was helpful and informative if you were one of the ones that was asking me questions about our trip. And we'll see you guys next time. Let me know down in the comments where we should go next. We want to explore some more states. Okay, I say that. I actually think we know where we're going next. Next year we want to drive out to Nova Scotia and go to those eastern states. So I've never been to the New England states, Maine and New Hampshire and Connecticut, and I don't know how many we'll actually get to, but I think that'll be fun, especially, you know, September in the nice early fall. So that is our plan for next year. But thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.